Chapter 9: Designing Workplace Layouts to Support Lean Success. How does our work environment affect our daily performance? So far, we've looked at two of the three key tools that are used to create the visual workplace: scorecards and dashboards, and 5S. This module focuses on the third lean tool that you can use to help make your workplace more effective: the workplace layout itself. Of the three tools, a workplace layout is the tool we are perhaps most familiar with, but often take for granted as well. The layout of one's workplace significantly affects daily process execution. Most of us have used layouts in the past to plan how to set up a new office space, where to place new equipment, or to determine where we'll store those packaging materials that one of our new customers are sending us. Using workplace layouts from a lean perspective involves using the same type of diagrams, but in a different way. Because workplace layouts are normally drawn to scale, we can use them to estimate how much distance, and in turn time and money, is involved with the regular movements of people and materials that occur each day as we meet the needs of our customers. We can also use layout-based tools to visually identify where problem performance areas exist, such as high hazard or high risk areas. Dot map layouts can also quickly show where improvements are needed or planned. Adding symbols, stickers, and notation to a workplace layout can send a clear and strong message about where attention is needed. When you post a colorfully marked up layout in the workplace, it immediately begins to let people know what the facility is focusing on in terms of making improvements. By sending a stronger improvement message, you also begin to affect daily performance in a much stronger way. Daily, consistent, and meaningful visual feedback will significantly affect on-the-job performance. How to create a spaghetti diagram. Step 1. Find or create a diagram of the workspace. Step 2. Find or create a workflow or process flow diagram. Step 3. Show each process step as a number on your workplace diagram. Step 4. Connect the dots. Step 5. Identify problem or non-value added areas. For example, where do the lines crisscross? Where does the process backtrack? How much total distance is covered? Where do delays exist? Where do handoffs exist? How much total time is used? What is the cost of the process that is mapped? Spaghetti diagrams are the most common means of using workplace layouts from a lean perspective. They are called spaghetti diagrams because the combination of material movement lines or people movement lines that the workplace layout has on it look like strings of spaghetti. You can create a spaghetti diagram by following these 5 steps. First, you need to find or create a workplace diagram. You may want to work with a scaled down layout first, perhaps a normal size sheet of paper with a hand-drawn layout on it. Try to find or create a diagram that shows all of the floor space that your key processes cover. After creating an initial diagram of the floor space, draw a process flow diagram for the process that you want to create the spaghetti diagram for. As a side note, it is a recommended best practice to have workflow diagrams for all of your key processes already drawn and accessible via both a hard copy notebook and an online file for uses such as this. Number the steps on your process flow diagram and then indicate these numbers on your workplace layout. Once you've done this, you can connect the dots. Make sure that you follow the existing paths that are used in your workplace as you make these connections. You are now ready to analyze your current state spaghetti diagram by looking for problem or non-value added areas. Non-value added areas are indicated by lines that cross each other, places where people backtrack with materials as they move through the process, or cases of excess distance being moved. You can also highlight places on the diagrams where delays currently exist, or where one person exchanges the same material with someone else. Finally, calculate the total distance moved, Estimate the time required to cover that distance. 3 miles per hour is a common conversion factor for walking speed. And use an average cost per hour to convert your total time into a total cost. Now, as a side note, a little bit later in this module, we'll be talking about how geofencing and geomapping can be used to create spaghetti diagrams and analyze spaghetti diagrams much more quickly than hand-drawn diagrams can. So stay tuned for that. Example spaghetti diagram. Let's take a look at this example spaghetti diagram, which comes from the Lean Six Sigma Pocket Toolbook by George Rollins Price and Maxey. It comes from 2005, but it is a great little reference. I really suggest that you grab it. In this example visual, there are 15 process steps shown. The lines connecting the process steps are the pieces of spaghetti that make up the spaghetti diagram. Notice how quickly you can spot problem areas simply by constructing this diagram. For example, notice the length of the trip between process steps 1 and 2. Look at how many times the lines cross each other as the parts move through the different processing phases. After spending just a few minutes looking at this diagram, can you think of some changes you would make if you were responsible for the performance of this facility? What would the spaghetti diagram look like for the facility or work area that you're responsible for? Do you have situations where you move from one corner of your work area to the other as you move between process steps? Are there cases where congestion is caused by numerous paths crossing one another or by people waiting in line? Can you think of changes that can be made to reduce the overall travel distance, travel time, and travel cost associated with processing a customer's order? If you made those changes, how much time and money could you save a year? It is likely that some possible challenges and improvements popped into your mind simply by asking those questions. You might want to write those thoughts down. Creating a spaghetti diagram for your workplace will be a key action that you'll be charged with completing after returning home from this training.